Greetings demons and welcome to my Fortnite Battle Royale discussion video. So in this video I'm going to be going over what I see as the worst aspect of this new season, and a lot of people seem to agree with me, and that of course is the Team Rumble changes. So if you're someone who doesn't play Team Rumble and maybe hasn't touched it this season so far, you might be wondering what those changes are. So basically, just to quickly go over it, you now begin with free green or uncommon weapons from the start, meaning you don't have to loot anything to have a weapon. It makes it a bit quicker to get into a fight, and overall, I don't really hate this decision. I think it's actually a really smart thing to go with, especially with some of the other changes that have been made. It does actually make sense that they've decided to just give us weapons off the bat. It is what it is. I'm fine with that. It kind of defeats the point of the looting stage of the mode, but I'm fine with it. The storm covers 50% of the map from the very start of the match, which is really annoying because it means that about 50% of the map can't really be accessed at all throughout the entire match unless you want to be taking a decent amount of damage from the storm. And that's the most annoying thing to me personally, because I like to land areas that are towards the edge of the map, like Catty Corner, which I've gone on record many times saying is one of my favourite locations in the game. You can't really land there because it's currently always covered in storm. There's never a moment in a Team Rumble match where Catty Corner and Holly Hedges and, places like that aren't covered in the storm. And then to make matters worse, the storm actually begins to shrink about 1 minute in, which, once again, makes it so that if you're wanting anywhere that isn't central to where the main circle is, you're not really going to be spending much time there. It also means that you don't get much of a chance to loot, which once again works into the fact that you do start with free weapons, so at least it doesn't really matter as much if you're able to loot or not. You will still have a weapon to get into some fights. And then the final change that really matters is that the buses actually move the same direction. Before this, the buses would actually go the opposite direction for each team, meaning that the starting points and end points were reversed for both teams. It made it so that it was less likely that you're going to run into enemies right off the bat, and gave you a chance to actually loot up before you actually got into a fight, which once again, it is kind of counteracted with the fact that you now have free green weapons from the start, but I'd argue that that doesn't really make up for the fact that literally every other change stops you from looting the way you want to, which a lot of people like Team Rumble for. The fact that you can go somewhere, loot up, get some good weapons, upgrade your weapons, do whatever you want, and then you can just die to the storm or jump off something, respawn at the circle, and get into a fight. That's what most people, including myself, really like about Team Rumble, and they've kind of removed that feature. So, as you can probably tell from what I've been saying, this essentially makes it more difficult to actually complete challenges because of the fact you can't land in certain locations, and also you can't get certain weapons because you can't land in certain areas which would spawn them more prominently, which is a serious disadvantage to a lot of people, because I for one have used Team Rumble a hell of a lot in order to actually get some very simple challenges done. More complicated stuff I'll do in solos, but when it comes to things like getting certain eliminations, landing in certain locations, finding certain items within certain locations, the basic fetch quest sort of thing, Team Rumble is one of the best modes for it, especially because of the fact that you have so much time without the threat of death. It makes a lot of sense to actually do those sorts of challenges within Team Rumble, and now you really can't unless they're in very specific locations of the map. It also makes the matches overall more stressful. They're more competitive generally, which Team Rumble is supposed to be a much more laid-back approach. And sure, there's plenty of sweats that play Team Rumble for whatever reason, probably to hone their skills rather than playing creative. But at the same time, I would argue that Team Rumble has always been a very casual place, even compared to the regular casual pub matches. It's a very calming, Battle Royale situation, especially with the respawns. So making it so that you essentially will never stop fighting, or running from the storm, or dying from the storm, it's not great, honestly. The only thing on the bright side, and I'm really struggling to find a benefit, is that it does make it a little less likely for the small team situations, things like the 10v3s that you'll often see in Team Rumble, because a lot of the time people will go into a match of Team Rumble, complete 1 or 2 challenges, then just leave rather than actually completing the match, and that does lead to really unbalanced teams, which can be really annoying. I've been in plenty of situations where my team has just left completely, and it's just been me against, 10 plus players. It's never a fun experience, and often I end up just leaving those matches myself. But at the end of the day, that's not a huge deal if you're just wanting a casual experience and you don't really care too much if you're dying. That's the only thing that really has changed for the better, is the fact that it's less likely that's going to happen, just because everyone that goes in there is in there for the long haul. They're not there to complete challenges, they're there to actually get kills and, win the game. So, I didn't want this video to be all doom and gloom. I do have a few suggestions on how Epic could actually make this mode better again. Make Team Rumble better again, great again, whatever you want to call it. We'll get that on a snapback or something. But in any case, I really just want them to add back original Team Rumble just as another menu option. They can rename the new version to Team Rumble Blitz or something like that. They've done it with plenty of other modes before, where the faster storms and stuff like that have just been renamed to Blitz. I'd be fine with that. Give us more options in the menu. That would always be a good thing to do. Having both Team Rumble and Team Rumble Blitz or Team Rumble Speed or whatever they want to call it, I think would be a smart idea, and it would honestly fix a lot of the issues. Having original Team Rumble as just an option would be so beneficial to pretty much everyone that enjoys playing Team Rumble, regardless of whether they like the new one or they really hate it like a lot of the people do that play it. And overall, I just think it is a smart idea. Also, forcing balance would be a really smart idea for the teams, because as I say, a major issue that is kind of fixed by this new Team Rumble is that the small team situations are less prevalent. But a way to do it that would actually fix a lot of the issues would just be to force team balance at each circle closure. So every time a circle closes, if teams are unbalanced and they're able to be balanced, so say it was a 10 versus 2, let's just say, it could then average it out to a 6v6. And sure, that could lead to people that are on the same team that are actually playing together in the same lobby, they're partied up together, they could be switched over to opposite teams. But at the end of the day, I would say that just adds to the, casual madness, the casual fun that is Team Rumble, and I wouldn't be completely opposed to that just being a feature. When it comes to the actual response that we're getting, as I say, a lot of people have been very vocal about their dislike of the new mode, and Epic has actually asked a few questions about the new Team Rumble in a recent survey, so I think it's fair to say they are listening, and overall this is just an experiment that is probably not going to last all too long, and the end goal is that changes should be made, whether that means completely reverting it back to the old version of Team Rumble, or making minor changes that are going to make it a better situation. I'm at least hoping that the storm coverage is going to be reduced, either so that it's literally at 0% when the match starts, like it would be in a regular Team Rumble or regular solo match, or at the very least they reduce it so it's like maybe 20% is covered, so it's just the edges of the map. Because I understand wanting to make the storm close in faster, that is kind of fair enough, but when it prevents you from landing in certain locations, which are good locations to land for Team Rumble, it kind of makes it a bit samey when you're having to land basically the same places every match. But in any case, that's going to be everything I have to say for this video. If you have any thoughts, make sure to comment them below, and also like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this pretty much every day, and I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/rabbitwithx if you want to see me do Sims, Minecraft, and Fortnite content, as well as much more. Pretty much every few days, every 3 days I think I do. And yeah, otherwise that's it from me, so I'll see you in the next video, and yeah, bye!
Lunar rainbow flag, happy pride, rabbit with facts. Streamer, let's play, they them out like dinosaurs. FNAFN, control, not the leader of a cult. Rabbit with sax, it's Lunar.